Oh, that's so much better. It's funny that I'm going to tell a story about my ex and my wife is not here tonight. It's probably good. Good, thank you. Don't. So years ago, I was looking for a great Maine getaway, and my partner at the time, we didn't have a lot of money. We were really struggling on a budget, like many of us have in many points in our life. And we were like, oh, how can we get like a really good cheap vacation? And my coworkers were like, oh, I have this brilliant idea for you. There's a woman who used to be, she was actually on the cover of Life magazine. She was like a lighthouse keeper. And there's this old salty Maine woman in a rowboat named Ruth, I think it was her name. And she recently passed away. And Ruth's daughter is renting out her house, which is in Cutler, Maine. And it's near this great new hiking place called the Gold Coast. And we were like, oh my God, that sounds perfect. And it's super affordable. It'll be so relaxing. You can go up there for Labor Day. It's available. It's going to be the best vacation you've ever had. So we set it all up. We pay our money. We're so excited. First like vacation. We get in the car. We drive all the way up to Cutler, Maine, which is quite a bit far north. And as we get out of Portland, as we go farther and farther north, it's really, I mean, we haven't been out of the city in a long time. And we're kind of feeling a little creeped out by how quiet it is. But we're like, okay, this is good. Country, this is good. We need country. So we pull up to the house, which is very old. It looks like a snapshot in time from the 50s. Very weathered and just beautiful coastal location right near the lighthouse. And it was one of those really, really hot Labor Day weekends. Like the air, even on the coast, the air was still. Like you couldn't find a lick of breeze if you wanted it. And so the keys to the house were in a glass mason jar under the stairwell. So we fish around the cobwebs and pick this mason jar up. It was pretty gross. We get into fish out the keys, which are very rusty, get into the house. And this is our big getaway. So we start walking around the house and it's frozen in time. Like nothing has changed. So we started exploring the rooms and like, you know, there's like quaint, cool, old. And then there's like, maybe a little too frozen in time. So we start exploring the rooms and we get to the master bedroom where we're supposed to stay. The mattress is definitely older than I was at the time. And I was in my 30s. And there's little mouse turds everywhere. Like in the Kleenex boxes and all over the pillowcases, like in the we were super grossed out. We were like, okay, great, we've got a house that's mice infested, and we started exploring all the other bedrooms, and they're all like mice infested except for one. So we go back into the master bedroom, and there's a little room off the master bedroom over the garage, and there's all these little carved figurines, like little puffins, mostly. Little mini kind of half-carved, fully carved puffins. We were like, wow, this is really weird. I'm standing in the room and I say to my partner at the time, like, I got to get out of this room. I've got to get out of this room. Like, I don't feel good. Like, I can't catch my breath in this room. So we exit the room. We talk about it. We're like, we can't sleep in the master bedroom with the mouse turds and everything. So we pick the only other bedroom we can, which is across the hall. So we try to, like, settle down, watch some TV. I mean, like, the water smelled like sulfur. The bathtub was kind of yellow. We're watching TV. All we can do is put in videos. I remember watching Babe, Pig in the City. That was our big relaxing vacation. And while we're watching Babe, Pig in the City, they had these old like air grates on the floor, and all of a sudden a cute little mouse pops its head up and is like scurrying across the floor, and my ex is screaming, and I'm stacking encyclopedias and shit on the grates to keep the mice from like popping their heads up. It was a cluster. It was horrible. So we're like, oh God, we're exhausted by the drive. We're exhausted by this experience. We're not really talking about how awful this house is, but we're just like, okay, we're gonna try and make the best of it. So we go to bed, and the room we sleep in has one window in it, and no screen, of course, because it's northern Maine. And across from the doorway is nothing but hall. So there's no chance for any cross breeze. So we open up the window because we're like, oh, we got to get some airflow in here. And it's pitch black out, like the moths are flying in. And we're laying in this bed, and it's very like, you know, sunken in the middle. I think that bed was twice as old as me. And we're just laying there like, oh my God, we can't sleep. We're not talking. We're exhausted. I'm sweating profusely. I'm a sweater. I don't know. I grew up in an Italian family. We're all like animated. There's a lot of like blood circulating all the time. I am constantly sweating. I'm just dripping with sweat. I'm just praying like a breeze, please. I just need a breeze. And the door to the room is one of those like really like creaky old doors that like you have to push it hard to open it, and we're freaked out. We're like totally freaked out because we're in Cutler, Maine, in the woods. No one's within yelling earshot, and we're like buttoning up the house like it's the middle of Portland. And we're like locking every door, and we're like, gotta close this door where the room is where we're sleeping. But we can't close the door because it's all swollen, and like the wood's just like, we're like, oh, I can't make this work. So we're like shove it as hard as we can, and it's open several inches, and it's really stuck hard. Like to pull it open to go to the bathroom, I'd have to give it a good tug. So we're laying there in bed, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I swear to God, this really happened. I'm not making any of this up. It was like somebody stood outside the door with a row of like 10 spotlights. And the brightest light I've ever seen in my life is like screaming through the crack in the door. I mean, like hard to, like the light's coming at me right now. Like, but 10 of those. It was just like, argh. And then all of a sudden the door swings open and slams shut. So we're laying there. I didn't say a word. I'm like rolling into my ex because it's like the bed's like, right. And all she said was she looked at me and she's like, did you just see that? And all I said was, yes. And then we never said another word. So we get up the next day, we're going to hike the Gold Coast, and we're like, oh, that's all right. Da, da, da. We come back from the hike, and we're still not talking about what happened. We never said a word about what happened the night before. So we get back to the house, and we're like, oh, God, here we go again. This is vacation paradise. And we walk in, and now it smells like gas, natural gas. And we're, can't light the stove, and we're not sure what's going on, and we're like, oh my God, great, now there's a gas leak. So we throw the windows open, and I call the nearest family member, because it was like the emergency list. And I'm like, I left the windows open, we're getting out of here. We're like, let's just go to Bar Harbor, try to get a hotel room. And we're running around upstairs, and we're packing up, and we get all our stuff packed up. And again, like the whole time we were there was just a feeling I had in that house. It just was not welcoming, to not say the least. So my ex walks down the stairs first. I walk behind her, and again, this truly happened. I felt like there was a giant hand on the back of my back, and then push, and I just right down. And she looks at me like, "Oh my God, are you all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I just want to get out of here." So we get in the car, and we're driving away from the Gold Coast, and we're not saying a word. We're not talking about this. We're not discussing it. As we get closer to Bar Harbor, we start kind of like unwinding it a little bit. And one of us brings up the night before, and then I start talking about feeling like I got pushed down the stairs. So we get this incredible, anybody ever go to Two Cats B&B? Yeah, so good. Remember Two Cats? So good. I don't know if it's still there. They have the best herb scramble you've ever had in your life. So we get to Two Cats, and we get a room, and we have this awesome breakfast the next morning, and we're just trying to like wash it off and forget about it. But we've spent all this money, and this whole experience super freaked us out. So I get back to Portland, and I call the woman that we got the rental from, and Ruth's daughter wasn't around, but I spoke to her daughter's partner, and I said, and the partner was like, what happened to you guys? Like, we got this message about the gas. And I was like, I got to ask you, like, what happened in that house? And the partner's like, what do you mean? And I was like, oh, come on. Have you been there? She's like, well, yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of does have some strange energy. I go, strange energy. Something happened in that house. Come on, tell me. I feel like I really need to know. Did something happen over Labor Day weekend? Is this a significant moment in this family's history? So we talk for a long time, and I finally get out of this person that, sadly, Ruth's father had taken his life in the room with the little puffin carvings. And after that, Ruth's mother couldn't sleep in the master bedroom anymore and wound up basically spending the last year of her life in the bedroom where we slept, and died 1 year to the day in the bed that we were sleeping in. Yeah, and that was our vacation to the Gold Coast.